We have Mr. Eric Hollenbeck of the Blue Ox with us today. And Eric, what a journey you have been on many levels. Honoring our 16th President, Lincoln, a great man, a man who you said was the first president to honor veterans.
Yep.
And you and your fellow veterans have taken a very important part in honoring that man by recreating his funeral hearse for the 150th anniversary of his assassination. Mm-hmm. The day that Jack Feather called, and you're sitting there going, all right, I can get my veteran school off the ground. Hopefully this project is big enough, good enough to get it started. Mm-hmm. What was, here's one of the levels of the journey, the first day that these men and women came to you and you told them what you were going to do, the first day.
Well, they had, none of the 12 had ever had a tape measure in their hand before a day in their lives.
Never.
They didn't know, so to them it wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
I just said we were going to do it, and they said, sure, we're going to do it. We have no idea what do it means. We have no idea what do it entails. Sure, he says we're going to do it, we're going to do it.
Right.
But it was a extremely difficult project to do. There was a lot of pressure throughout the whole project, because every step had to be done absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm. And by hand.
And by hand, by using the same techniques and the same tools that the original guys would have used. And yeah, every step of the way, somebody was watching us. There were 4 historians altogether.
Right, right.
1 from Smithsonian, 2 from Springfield, and 1 from the Staub Family Trust, the trust that was putting the money up for the materials on this project. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of conference calls and a lot of, add more to here or take away this, or you didn't quite get this detail, and an awful lot of, boy, you nailed it.
Oh, so, yeah. Oh, good. Boy, you nailed it. From one picture, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, from one surviving picture, because the structure, burned down in 1885?
87, I think, yeah,
something
85,
like
in a livery stable fire. And Denise, I think we're peculiar. Humans are peculiar. What we're doing right now in this room, right here, mm-hmm. is making history.
That's right.
But nobody sees it that way until 20, 30, 40, 50 years later. Then they go, oh, crap, I wish that, we should have saved some of that, the scenery, the chairs, we should have saved some of that. And so I think that when they buried Lincoln, they retired the hearse.
Oh,
now,
right.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because that was a $250,000 vehicle by today's money.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
$6,000. And they retired it. And they knew that it was going to be important someday. And I think they were trying to save it mm-hmm. until it could go into a museum or, some facility.
Yeah.
Because it was on the second floor of the livery stable when it caught fire.
Oh, so it wasn't just down on the ground floor, it was up
It was
safely.
Up on the second floor, and I think they were, But why didn't we put it in a museum instantly? Because we don't think that way.
Oh, right.
We don't think of, it's historic.
Right.
Being right now, because the beginning of this interview is gone.
Yeah.
It'll never happen again. Right. It's gone.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
I remember one time talking to a historian who told me refrigerators and outhouses are the two most difficult things in the world to get a photograph of.
Refrigerators and outhouses? Why?
Because they were too commonplace. Nobody took any pictures of them.
You don't think about that.
Right, see? So
Right.
everything around us has a history, but we don't see it. So they didn't see it at the time.
Right.
And consequently they lost it. And then we were able, from that one photograph and that one bill of lading that had the measurement for the rear wheel, if they hadn't have found that, this project would have never happened. You could not have built it off of the photograph alone, because there was nothing to get a scale from.
Right. And the way that it was parked in the photograph, you're only getting partial sight of it too, it looks like.
They had the diminishing returns
Right.
To deal with, and we did that. We dealt with that. You want to hear a funny story about that?
Well, of course.
So you got to bear in mind that the Staub family trust is undertakers. They're mortician. It's a mortician family. Okay.
Oh, really?
So they have about as much humor as a drink of water that goes down the wrong tube.
Oh, no.
They're pretty stoic. Okay.
Right.
They called us and said, "Would you do shop drawings for this?" And here's the rear wheel size, here's how we found it, here's the photograph, here's all this, and you're going to do the job, and would you be? So I said, yeah. So we've got a photograph of the veterans, and 4 of them around the work table, working off of a 50 scale, and see, a 50 scale worked on the rear wheel vertically, but horizontally it wouldn't work. There was a loss horizontally because of the diminishing returns of the depth perception of the photograph.
Okay.
So then we had to figure out in 56 inches what is the loss, and then every 56 inches horizontally add that loss to it to try and get the horizontal measurements. So anyway, the 4 of us are sitting around the table, and I swear to God, the veterans have got smoke rolling out their ears.
They didn't know what they got themselves into on the first day of school.
It was tough. So we did it, and I sent the shop drawings back to them, back to Springfield. Well, unbeknownst to me, the people in Springfield had also asked an engineer at Ford Mercury to do the shop drawings off of the same photograph with the same 56-inch rear wheel measurement.
But he had a computer.
So they came up the same. So they sent my shop drawings to the Ford Mercury guy. I never saw his, but they sent my shop drawings to the Ford Mercury guy, and the Ford Mercury guy said, "Wait a minute, these are done with pencil. How the hell did they do this? We had a hell of a time with a CAD system trying to get the depth perception and the loss in depth perception. How did they do this?" So one of the historians told me, the mortuary guy said, "Oh, he's some guy up in the woods in Northern California, and we think that he used a slide rule and a scale and a pencil and a Ouija board and a goat. Oh, and a small fire."
In a small fire. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That was pretty funny
But speaking of good old-fashioned ingenuity, and journey, what is it that you all learned about the craftsmen of the day you're trying to recreate in the 1880s?
Well, we walked, that's a good question. That's a great question.
Yeah,
Denise.
what did you learn about those?
So I can tell you one thing right off. One of the very first castings that we did was the bases at the bottom of the columns.
Okay.
They were, you remember seeing them, the silver, the gold bases at the bottom of the silver columns. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4 half bases, and then 4 corner bases. So piece of cake. So we made up the original pattern, cast the 4/2 pattern of the corner base, and got it all ready. And all of a sudden, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and went, "Holy crap, that ain't gonna work." That is an uncastable casting. You can't cast that. There's no way to get it out of the sand. That casting won't work. We're gonna have to cut it in half and make it in 2 halves and put it back together at the end. So we did that, and then I got to looking at the photograph, and sure as hell, on the one corner that you can see, there's a little faint line right down the center of it, and that's where they ran into the exact same problem we ran into. And they had to cut it in half and put it back together, exactly the same as we did. There were, another one was, there were these little peculiar molding brackets on the windows, top and bottom. Not top, about a third of the way down, and then on the bottom. Nobody could figure out what it was. I couldn't figure out what it was. Nobody could figure out what it was.
Not any of the Smithsonian people, nothing?
No. Nobody knew what this was for. We could see them. They were there. We saw what they looked like, but why? Why are they there? It makes no sense at all. And it wasn't until we did that extremely fancy Gothic arch window stop that it dawned on me. The transition between that stop and the normal window stop is a stupid transition. So they put this little molding over it to cover it all the way around.
Oh, just for decorations and, well, if we can't do nothing about it, make it pretty.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Oh,
That's
wow.
exactly what they did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And this whole thing has helped, and I've heard you talk, you've been interviewed everywhere. You've been in the Boston newspaper. You were just interviewed on the radio in Springfield.
Yep.
And you just came back from Tombstone. And this is all for the veterans, as you say, to kind of help them re-identify themselves.
Right.
Through this process, what kind of changes have you seen with your brothers and sisters? Have they began a new identification? Have
every
they?
one of them. Every one of
Every
them.
one of them?
Come out of their shell. Yep. Every one of them. We got one young man who has hidden in his house for 10 years.
Literally hidden.
Yeah. I think it's probably more like 8 years, but and now he's given tours to the little kids coming down, the fourth graders when they come down. He's the one giving the tours, and he's gets down right in their face, and he's a big burly guy, you know. He gets down right in their face and he says, "See, this is the green sand, and see when I squeeze it and open it up, see the sand holds the shape of my fist," and he breaks the sand up. He says, "Now you put your fist out here, put your hand out here, now you try it," and he gets him squeezing the sand. I mean, this great big guy talking with these fourth graders and just having a blast at it, you know. And
What was his turning point?
His shrink, his counselor, whatever you call him, came down and told me that he said, "You have found a way to connect with these guys and gals that standard shrinking doesn't do."
Right.
And we've tried for 8 years with this young man and haven't gotten anywhere. And here in 6 months, you broke through and got him doing fine.
Wow. That's phenomenal, Eric.
But you got it.
And that's the reason you did all this.
Yeah. You know, you got to have somebody that has walked the road before them.
Yeah.
Somebody that understands what in the hell's going on with him.
Yeah.
Understands, gets it 100%, you know, and all the book learning and reading about it in the world ain't going to get you there.
No.
You have to have walked that road. You have to have been in those footsteps. See, the Native Americans had it pegged. They knew that it took a year to train a tribal member to become a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
But they also knew it took a year to train a warrior to become a tribal member again. And when the young warriors came back, they were not allowed into the village. An old warrior would go out and meet them, and for a year they would work their way around the village, around the village, around the village, around the village, until finally they integrated back into the village. Yeah, they understood it. And the United States of America is the very, very best in the world at training a civilian to be a warrior. We're the best.
Mm-hmm.
And we're probably the worst in the world at training a warrior to be a civilian. There is none of it.
Yeah. Well, you can't say none. There's you now. There's you now.
Yeah. So it's got to be, but it has to be their fellows in arms, their brothers and sisters that are the support group for breaking down those scary idiosyncrasies that we have, and I got them. You know, I don't go anywhere, and the reason I don't go anywhere, much to dismay of Viviana, is because the minute I get to Garberville, I start figuring out, how do I get home? What's my route home? And all the rest of the trip, that's all that's on my mind.
Right.
Where's my route home? If everything fails and I got to walk, how do I get home? How do I get back to Blue Ox? Where's the route? How do I get across this river? How do I get across the bay at the Golden Gate? Every step of the way, I plan all that out.
Wow.
And it's, you know, it came from the jungle. I was 95-day missions in the jungle, and you had to know how the hell you're gonna get out of there if you got separated, and it is what it is, and I can't change that.
No. So it even makes it a bigger deal that you accompanied your creation, your work, to Tombstone, Arizona for the next phase of it.
Yeah, and then had to figure out how to get the hell out of Tombstone. Yes, Jesus Christ! I'm thinking this is going to be a long walk.
It sure is. But right before that, you welcomed the community to see it all, and you've been very wonderful. I have to tell you, allowing people to see this go step by step. Were you surprised about the amount of enthusiasm that came in those 2 days that you opened up the Blue Ox for people to come see?
I was really happy that probably 1,000, 1,200 people got to come down and see it. Yeah.
In 2 days?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, because it's never going to happen again. I ain't going to do it again.
No.
I guarantee you that.
No, this is your masterpiece, I think.
Once is enough for me.
Exactly. Try and figure it out.
It was history. It was history being made.
Yeah.
And the community got to see it, and that really excited me. I was glad that they wanted to come and see it.
Absolutely.
'Cause we're all busy. We all have things to do. We all got, stuff going on, but to take time out to come and see it was for 1,200 people. That was important to them, and I'm really glad that they got to do that.
Mm-hmm. And what were the veterans' reactions to all this?
They were very, very sad to see it go out the door.
I bet.
Yeah, because they had lived it for 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done projects like this before, so I understand the process. I built a trolley for the city of Eureka, and that took 8 months.
Oh my.
So it was the same, you know.
Yeah.
So I've been down this road before and knew that was coming, but the veterans didn't. And
How did you help prepare them for it? Or can you?
No, no.
You just have to let it happen.
Let it happen, and then get them excited about two things: the trip back to Springfield, because they're all being flown back to Springfield, every one of them.
Oh yeah.
And
oh yeah.
and
they
then,
did that. They better get to see it.
yeah, yeah. And then secondly, what's going to be our next project? And
Ooh, do we have an
that
exclusive?
Yep.
Okay.
We're looking at San Francisco Muni has got donated to them maybe 10 years ago 2 horse-drawn streetcars that go down the tracks, but they're horse-drawn. They're omnibuses, I think. And they knew they couldn't do anything with them. But they wanted to, and they had the common sense to encase them in cosmoline, so they are cocooned in cosmoline. So the point of deterioration that they were at has stopped.
Okay.
No more deterioration after that.
Okay.
Cosmoline is a military product. It's like a canvas with a coating of grease on both sides. So when you wrap something up in it, the air can't get to it anymore.
Really? A cocoon?
Yeah,
really?
Cocoon, yeah. So they cocooned it in cosmoline. So I've approached them for them to lowboy up one of those at a time, and us to rebuild those trolleys so that they can run them on the F line.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
they want to put
What
them
a San Francisco treat.
Yeah, right, right,
Riding a horse-drawn trolley.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you guys are doing that.
right.
Oh man.
So that's what we're pushing for. So, so there's, you know, it's being a craftsman. It just keeps going on. It doesn't. There's not one project and then you're done for life. It's just one after another, after another, after another.
Right.
And that's something that these guys and gals have to get firmly fixed through their head, that was one job. It was a grand job. It was a wonderful job. It was terrific, but it was one job.
Just one out of many.
One out of many.
Wow.
And there's other stuff coming down the pike that we can do. So yeah, they're a great group to work with. God dang, they're employers who fail to look at veterans are really shortchanging themselves. I can tell you one example. On the skirt of the hearse, there are these castings, and we call them license plate brackets. They're 22 inches long, 12 inches wide, and they went around. They look like a license plate bracket. Extremely difficult to cast for us. That was really tough. And those guys and gals, the sand crabs.
The sand crabs?
That's what you call a foundryman, because they ram up sand castings, so they're called sand crabs. The sand crabs out there spent 15 days of failures.
15 days of failures.
Not 15 failures. 3, 4, 5 times a day, 15 days of miserable failures. And they went back for the 16th day.
Okay.
And on the 16th day, they had it figured out, and it clicked, and they made it, and they had all 6 castings done in a day and a half.
Wow.
But
they went back.
well, they went back.
Many others would have just said, okay, I've done this for 4 days, 5 days,
Yeah.
and quit then.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now, employers out there, how many of you have got a workforce that would keep going back for that 16th day?
Not many.
But veterans do,
Yeah.
because surrender is not an option. Defeat is not an option. You just keep charging the machine gun nest until you finally take it, you know, and they did, and on the 16th day they hit it. So that's the kind of work ethic that these guys and gals brought to the table. Yeah, it was incredible to work with them.
Wow. And you're not done.
No,
You're
no,
not done.
no. We're working on right now in the in-between while we're waiting to hear from San Francisco. We're working on the Eureka trolley, and now we're going to doll the Eureka trolley up. It needed to get refurbished anyway, but now we're going to now we know how to do castings. So now we're going to doll it up with castings.
After 15 days of doing the license
Right.
plate, you're ready.
Yeah, we get it now. So now we're going to put the sand crabs on the Eureka trolley and get it all spruced up and beautified beyond what it was before.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So what was another yoo-hoo, woo, we did it moment for you and your students? Right off the bat, we got it, you know?
Yeah, when we dove in, and Jack Feathers hitting the exact same wall. We made castings, you know. For 2.5 months, maybe 3 months, we made castings. The bases, remember, that we talked about. We turned the columns. The capitals, all of those. The capitals were 24 inches tall by the end. All those pieces stacked up on top of each other.
And the pineapples.
And the pineapple, we did all.
That was gorgeous.
But parts is parts. Remember the commercial, parts is parts.
Parts is parts.
And the veterans finally decided, you know, what the hell are we doing? Where all these parts go? So okay, let's start with the body. And we spent 2 days scratching our heads. 2 days I spent trying to outthink the problem. 2 days I spent trying to figure out if we do it this way, then what's going to happen farther on the project. If we do it this way, then, at the end of the second day, I finally remembered, Eric, just jump in the deep end of the damn pool and start pounding nails and building the thing.
Just build it.
Just build it. You can't outthink the problem.
Right.
You can't do it. That's an impossibility. As the problems come up down the road, solve them. But you can't solve them back here because you ain't even up there yet. So that was a moment, and I shared that with the vets, and you know, let's just start doing it. And a day and a half later, we had the entire frame done. The entire frame for the hearse was all mortise and tenon, all glued together, all done, ready for the body to start building up off of the frame.
Wow.
But a day and a half I spent dinking around trying to instead of just jumping in and doing it.
Well, I can understand that, though. You know, this is an interesting project. You hadn't built something like this before, so it's understandable you would think about it and kind of go, well, where do we go from here?
Yeah. And you try to outthink it, and so that was an aha moment, was just jump in and do it. So yeah, the body's all built out of maple, and then the framing's all built out of Douglas fir.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's going to hold up for the ages, and that's what you built it for.
Yes, exactly. And the body's now getting painted in tombstone, and he has to put the steel frame under it.
Oh.
And we built the dang thing backwards. we should have built, if we would have been a shop doing this, you would have built the axles, fifth wheel, and springs. Then you would have built the frame. Then you would have built the body up off of the frame.
Okay.
But we built the body first. The axle, springs, and wheels are being done by Jay Jones in Kentucky. Those are getting sent out. Is today Friday? No, tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow those get sent out to Tombstone. So we build the body, send it down to Jack. Now Jack has to figure out how to get a frame under it, and it's a step frame construction. So he has to figure out how to get a frame under it, and he's got to figure out how to get a frame under it with no axles and springs. So he doesn't really know where to put the frame yet, and that was the same problem we had. I didn't know where to put the supports for him, for Jack, because I didn't know what his frame was going to look like.
Right, right.
So everything's a guess. So we're building it. It got built backwards.
Well, it had to, though.
Yeah, yeah.
It had to. There's no way around that part.
No. They started too late.
Yeah.
They only came to us 9 months ago, and that was too late to the timeline.
Right.
You know, like I told the veterans, I can pretty much guarantee you they are not going to change Lincoln's burial date because we're late.
Nope.
I can pretty much guarantee that.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
So step up, man. Yeah. Step up, woman. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Build it. Build it.
So that was the push throughout the thing. But now Jack has finally I got a call from him yesterday, and he's finally Happy Jack again.
Oh, he's Happy Jack. He was Mad Jack.
Whoa. For a week, he has been pretty much Angry Jack. He's Happy Jack again now, because now he's finally got it figured out how he's going to put the frame in it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now, Jack Feather, where does he come in all of this? What is his expertise? What's he known for in Tombstone?
He builds motorcycle hearses. So he builds hearses that have a trike motorcycle and then a hearse behind them as a trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
that's popular in Tombstone?
It's he sells them all over the country, including, I think, Canada.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know. I guess if you are somebody who loved bikes, you know, then you want to get buried by a motorcycle hearse, I guess.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. So they called him the Staub Family Trust has one of his motorcycle hearses, and they called him and asked him, "Can you build this hearse?" And he said yes, and then looked at it and went, "Holy crap, I'm in way over my head." So then he found me and called me, and I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it." And in the beginning, we were just going to do the decorative work, the castings.
Okay.
He didn't know how to do any of that.
Okay.
And so that's what we were going to do. And then it changed over the course of time to where we did the entire body.
Okay.
And rightfully so, because castings had to be fit, and you know, it just made sense.
Oh, yeah.
So Jack is he was a pilot on a Huey, on a gunship Huey.
Oh, my.
In Vietnam, and then they had to get somebody to build the axles, springs, and wheels, and they finally found they being Jack and the Staub family finally found Jay Jones in Kentucky, and Jay is some kind of really weird, covert army. He went into Laos, and we weren't allowed into Laos.
No, wow.
So I'm not sure what Jay did, but he'd have to kill us if he told us or something.
You can keep that secret. It's
Yeah,
all right. I
it's
don't want to
okay.
know.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, he's building the axles and wheels and all of that, and then me, of course, I was combat radioman for the 101st in the Ashaw Valley. So it's 3 combat veterans that saw that, a lot of combat.
Yeah.
I mean, heavy combat veterans, and then all of our veteran students that built this thing. So and it just happened that way. It was never planned to be that way at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think this thing was orchestrated
You would have to think so. I believe it.
on a way greater level than you and I.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, to have all of those connections line up like that, yeah, we were into it for a month before we realized that all 3 of us were veterans.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And you went, did you have that? No.
Yeah.
No, really, you?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But how fitting, though. Veterans doing this all together to honor a man who honored veterans.
Right.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that, it was orchestrated. This thing was absolutely orchestrated.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to be orchestrated, so it's going to go just fine. And it's going to get back to Springfield, Ducky, and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the gentleman from Springfield choreographing all of this came along with Jack Feather. Was that who came to your open house?
Yes,
All
that
right.
was...
What did they think of our area?
P.J. Staub.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty much all that they saw was Blue Ox and Red Lion.
Oh.
Because it was just so busy, we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But they had a grand time. They really liked the countryside here. On the trip down, we stopped at Rockefeller Forest, and I stayed with the hearse, but Viviana took them into Rockefeller Forest because we had 2 cars. See, we had the truck and the car, and I stayed with the truck.
Right.
So we didn't have to try and turn the trailer around in there. And so they got to see the redwoods, and so that was nice. And then when we got down to, on the second night, we got down to Oceanside.
Oh, I know where that is.
Okay.
Yeah, San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of veterans and military personnel there.
And we, and then the next morning we uncocooned it, unwrapped it, and put all the gold on it and took it over to, with a retired general who asked us to do it, took it over to Camp Pendleton.
Oh, really?
Yep, and it got his picture on the parade grounds. There happened to be a master sergeant retiring, and there was a big parade for him, and he got to get his picture taken with it. And they have a wall up of fallen Marines in Afghan and Iraq, and they got his picture taken in front of that wall, and so that was great. And then we took it back, and at 4 o'clock, we took it to the VA hospital and clinic, and then it was on display there, and the San Diego Tribune came and did a write-up on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the people at the clinic got to come out and see it, and and talk to us, and so that was nice. And it was a day we didn't have to travel.
You could just enjoy it.
One day, boy, did I need that break.
I bet you did.
Jesus
I
Christ.
bet you did. Because it's been go, go, go ever since.
Yeah.
And then you had to pack it up, prepare it for travel, and then get it there.
Right.
Wow. But what was the reaction in San Diego at the VA hospital?
Oh, they were really, really excited about it. You know, they loved it, what it looked like and all, but really excited about the the fact that it was built by veterans, and
Right.
that was they saw the importance of that. You know, and they're gonna the same thing's gonna happen back in Springfield. They have, oh my God, we are on the go from morning till night for 4 days.
When
They
you
have-
get to Spring, oh my.
Yeah, they have it all set up. They have, they're going to take us to the, I know there's a big ceremony at the university there. There's a ceremony in the parade route. One thing that they did, that photograph, you know, so they, that turns out it was in Springfield, just as it got unloaded off of the train.
Oh,
So the highway patrol in Springfield, the forensic part of the highway patrol did a forensic workup on it and came up with 96.2% accuracy of that street corner that vehicle was taken, the picture was taken on. So they're going to set it up on that street corner and have us all around it, and have a professional photographer retake the picture, only with us in the picture instead of the 1,800 guys. Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So there's a lot of activities planned for us.
Yes, and a lot of more memories and
Yes.
and things to do.
Yes.
And this isn't all. You guys set up a Indiegogo site for contributions to keep this going, because this isn't only what you do.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, what is it going to take to keep this going?
We're looking at that right now.
Yeah. And you,
There's-
Humboldt County, please look up the Indiegogo for the Blue Ox. You know, we're all a part of this.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how. We got to approach the VA. That's one idea, and I don't know where that one will go. I'm not real good at that.
Okay.
You know, for me, do you know what MACV is?
No, what is that?
MACV was the headquarters of the Army. They were the top brass. They were the ones. They were in country, but they were the ones that gave orders that filtered down and made operations and made all the decisions and everything else, and then us on the ground carried it all out. And to me, MACV was always the enemy.
Oh no.
MACV was trying to get me killed.
Right. They sent you to the jungle.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I'm not real. I don't know where the VA will go. And that's about as honest as I can get.
Sure.
You know, there are people smarter than me that can deal with the VA, but I don't know. And then the other option is to get private funding.
Okay.
And there's a couple of developers in San Francisco that may want to fund the school.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and then they get the accolades and they get the good press for doing it. And San Francisco gets their streetcar, horse-drawn streetcar redone. So that's the avenue that we're approaching for for funding the streetcar. So we'll see. You know, it's got to be orchestrated just like by a higher power, just like the trolley was. Because I don't know. I know I can't do it forever for free.
Oh no, of course not.
And And the millworks, you know, has always supported everything that we've done. So, and it can't continue to do that. So we'll have to see. Something will come along.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Well, this is a whole new chapter in the book of Blue Ox.
Right.
And in your life.
Right.
And I have to tell you, don't want to embarrass you, but I'm very proud of you. And thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Because without you, there would be no Blue Ox. There would be no children being helped. There would be no veterans being helped. And there would be no Hearst. As my grandma says, what would you do? Well, do without. And I would hate to think of us doing without.
Well, thanks.
So really, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's coming from the bottom of my heart. I
Yeah.
mean, you guys, you have spent so many years building all of this. So I see it as a new chapter.
Yes, I do too. I absolutely do too. I'm getting tired of the millwork.
Well,
42 years.
of course.
I mean, you can only make so much gutter. You can only make so many doors. You can only make so many windows. And
Right. But now you can be exclusive. You've proven this is my masterpiece. So if Mr. Hollenbeck would like to do it, that's, hey.
Yeah, yeah.
You can be exclusive now.
Yeah, yeah.
You can choose your job.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And I really enjoy the veterans. I am having fun doing that, and they're a great group. I really like them. With all their idiosyncrasies, you know, and all the pieces of the puzzle, I get it, and I enjoy them.
All right. Well, with that, putting the pieces of the puzzle back together. Thank you, Eric, for coming. You've been watching Out Here in the Redwoods. I'm Denise Riles. Thank you to Bill Cozy. We'll see you next time.